Discover 7 heartwarming Halloween bedtime stories that transform fear into incredible dreams. In the small suburb of Maplewood, the air buzzed with excitement and a hint of anxiety. Sarah, a hardworking single mother, barely had a moment to breathe. At 34, she found herself juggling 2 jobs and an imaginative 8-year-old daughter named Lily. Each day felt like a marathon, but Sarah carried the weight of her responsibilities with a warm smile, even when her heart felt heavy. Halloween was around the corner, and while decorations filled their small home with a sense of wonder, they also amplified Sarah's worries. Could she keep a stable life for Lily amidst mounting bills and a demanding work schedule at the local diner? The diner felt like family, and her coworkers often lent a hand. Still, uncertainty lurked in the shadows. Economic downturns threatened to snatch away her hard-earned job, potentially darkening the magic of Lily's imagination. Sarah fought to keep a sense of hope alive. Lily's vibrant creativity transformed every corner of their home into a stage for fantastical monsters, sweetly haunting yet anxiety-provoking. As the town prepared for its beloved pumpkin carving extravaganza, Sarah volunteered to set up a storytelling booth, wanting to share tales that would transform fear into dreams for children and adults alike. However, the excitement fizzled when she learned that Lily had caught the attention of Jason, a bully from a wealthy family. Armed with cruel words and a hurtful smirk, he made it his mission to mock Lily's fears. Sarah could feel the sting of social prejudices pressing against her heart. She wanted to protect her daughter, but her own insecurities threatened to drown her resolve. Determined to inspire courage, Sarah poured her heart into crafting enchanting stories filled with characters who faced their frights with compassion. In a community where family values reigned supreme, she believed they could conquer fear together. That night, under the glowing light of jack-o'-lanterns, Sarah imagined the stories weaving connections among neighbors. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the evening unfolded, a tense atmosphere enveloped the crowd when Jason taunted Lily yet again. Sarah's chest tightened, heart racing as she realized this could be the pivotal moment they'd been preparing for. She saw fear fleeting across Lily's face, battling against the courage that lived deep within. Then, something shifted. In an unexpected surge of strength, Lily took a step forward. The flicker of bravery in her eyes ignited a light not just in her but in the hearts of the neighbors gathered. Could this be the moment that would redefine her perception of herself? Did community truly hold the power to break down invisible walls? As whispers of support rose from those around them, Sarah's heart swelled with hope. She watched as her daughter faced the darkness of both Halloween and bullying, bridging the gap between their fears and their dreams. The night was thick with emotion, and it seemed that both mother and daughter were standing on the brink of something transformative. Would the teachings hidden within Sarah's stories guide Lily toward a brighter dawn, or would the weight of prejudice cast a long shadow over her spirit? With each passing moment, the energy around them shifted. Encouraged by the whispers of support, Lily took a deep breath and straightened her shoulders. Jason's smirk faltered, just for a split second, as a crowd began to gather closer. The familiar faces of their neighbors, once mere onlookers, became a fortress of solidarity. Why do you always have to make fun of me, Jason? Lily's voice echoed, shaky yet resolute. Her heart pounded like a drum, but she stood tall. You think it's funny to scare people who are different? I may be afraid of Halloween monsters, but you're the real one here. A small gasp rippled through the crowd. Sarah's heart soared at her daughter's bravery and sank at the same time. Could this really be happening? In that moment, she found herself wrestling with a mix of pride and fear for her daughter. What if Jason retaliated? What if this only brought more bullying? But as she looked at Lily, she realized she had to trust her instincts, had to trust her daughter. As if sensing her mother's turmoil, Lily glanced back at Sarah, their eyes locking in an unbreakable bond. With a slight nod from Sarah, Lily took another step toward Jason, her little fists clenched by her sides, ready to face whatever came next. Around them, the crowd drew a little closer, united in a small circle of protective energy. Did you know the monsters in stories are just like you, Jason? Lily continued, her voice gaining confidence. They hide behind masks because they're scared. Just like you hide behind your words to make yourself feel big. She paused, watching Jason's expression change from sneer to confusion. The words hung in the air, thick with emotion. Sarah felt the weight of the moment, a pivotal intersection between innocence and growing up. She wanted to scream, to cheer, but she held her breath as Lily held her ground. What would happen next? The crowd made soft murmurs, sharing glimpses of admiration and support. Sarah's co-workers joined in, calling out encouragement to Lily. You can do it. Stand strong. Their cheers were both a comfort and a surge of energy. Jason hesitated, the bullying facade cracking ever so slightly. A flicker of uncertainty crossed his face as he glanced at the support gathering behind Lily. Fueled by courage, he stepped back, searching for a comeback. But the moment passed, and silence fell. See? Lily said, her tone softening as she stepped back slightly. Even monsters can be something else. You don't have to be a bully, Jason. You can be better. The crowd erupted into supportive claps and cheers, enveloping them in warmth. It was as if a spell had been broken, fear began to dissolve amidst the laughter, sparked by countless hands raised in applause. Sarah felt an overwhelming wave of gratitude, but the flash of worry still flickered in her mind. They had only just begun to fight this battle. At that moment, something shifted. Children began to gather near the storytelling booth, curious eyes bright with the glow of possibility. They wanted stories, tales that showed them how to confront their fears and transform them, just like Lily had done tonight. Let us tell them a story. Lily beamed, tears of joy sparkling in her eyes. We can be heroes. As her daughter's spirit ignited the crowd, Sarah smiled wide. Perhaps this was the change they both needed. But as they turned to face the group of eager listeners, Sarah couldn't help but wonder, would the light of this moment remain strong? Or would shadows from the past linger just outside their door? The evening air felt electric with potential, and the pumpkin carvings glowed brightly, but the true battle was only just beginning. Lily stood before the eager circle of children, their eyes wide and bright, filled with anticipation. The warmth of earlier cheers still reverberated through her heart. She could almost feel the weight of their hopes, the weight of possibility. Taking a deep breath, Lily felt a surge of purpose. She began, her voice steady, as if she were casting a spell. Once upon a time, in a small village not so different from ours, there lived a little witch named Mira. But Mira wasn't like the other witches. As she spun the tale, she could see the expressions on the kids' faces shift from curiosity to joy. Wonder sparkled in every glance. Each word Lily spoke painted vivid images in their minds. They listened as Mira faced the townsfolk who feared her magic. And when everyone ran from her, she discovered that her broomstick could fly higher than the clouds if only she believed it could. Lily's voice rang out, clear and vibrant. In that moment, she became narrating a hero, embodying the very essence of her story and the courage it evoked in her audience. One day, Mira decided she didn't want to be alone. So, she flew down to show the villagers her magic wasn't scary. She made flowers bloom and the sun rise even brighter. They realized she was just like them, full of dreams and warmth. The crowd around her erupted in cheers, little hands clapping enthusiastically, and Sarah felt tears brimming in her eyes. It was a beautiful sight, the way her daughter commanded this moment, weaving hope through the fabric of their fears. Mira showed them that monsters could turn into friends, Lily concluded, her voice ringing with determination. Just like Jason can be a friend instead of a bully. As the applause washed over her, a voice broke through the excitement. Can Mira come back? A little girl asked, her head tilted, eyes wide with wishful thinking. And will she still be a hero? Lily was taken aback, her heart fluttering. The power of her story had stirred something deep within her peers. Of course. She can come back anytime we need her. And with that simple promise, Lily felt a flood of warmth and connection ripple through the crowd. But just as she basked in the moment, she spotted Jason lingering at the edge of the gathering. His expression, once triumphant, had transformed into something unreadable. He seemed almost lost, a shadow of the boy who scared her just moments before. Lily, wait! Jason's voice cut through the cheers, quiet and hesitant. The crowd shifted, tension building as everyone turned to the boy who had once been a source of fear. Do you think I could help tell stories too? He asked, his bravado fading. A wave of surprise swept over the crowd, a collective intake of breath. Lily blinked, her heart racing. Could this really be happening? A fork in the road loomed ahead, the chance for transformation not just for her, but for Jason too. What if she dared to open her heart, just a little wider? Of course, Jason. Everyone can tell a story, Lily replied, a spark of understanding igniting her spirit. Everyone deserves to share their magic. In that moment, the night felt alive with possibility. The children began buzzing with excitement, chatter swirling around them like golden leaves caught in an autumn breeze. It was a moment laden with potential, a chance for healing and connection. But as Jason stepped forward, still uncertain, Sarah's heart ached with the uncertainty of what lay ahead. Would he take the journey to become more than a bully? Would he truly seek transformation? The crowd was alive, electric with hope and fears, but the silence of what was yet to unfold lingered in the air. How far could their bravery take them together? With the weight of change hanging thick, deep in her heart, Sarah silently braced herself for what lay ahead. Jason hesitated, his foot shuffling in the dirt. The eager faces of the children, filled with excitement and anticipation, seemed to close in around him. Sarah watched, her heart pounding with the blend of hope and concern. Could this truly be a new beginning for him, or was it just a momentary spark? What kind of stories do you like? Jason's voice was barely a whisper, the bravado that once marked his presence had faded, leaving vulnerability in its place. The audience quieted, and in that stillness, Lily found her voice again. Why don't we brainstorm together? What if we combine our ideas? Everyone loves stories about bravery and friendship. She stepped closer to Jason, her smile warm and inviting. His eyes darted to the ground, grappling with a mix of embarrassment and curiosity. Can we really do that? Absolutely. Lily beamed. You have all sorts of ideas inside you, just waiting to come out. Remember, Mira faced her fears, and so can we. Encouraged by her enthusiasm, a few children chimed in, eager to share their thoughts. What if we wrote about a dragon who becomes friends with a princess? One girl shouted. Or a monster who likes to bake cookies. Another child added, laughter bubbling through the crowd. Jason listened, his mouth twitching into a tentative smile. Ideas began to swim through his mind. Maybe he could contribute. Maybe he could share a piece of himself that no one had seen before. That's good! He exclaimed, surprising even himself. Or how about a story about a haunted house that isn't scary at all? Maybe it's filled with friendly ghosts who just want to play. In that moment, laughter erupted again, the tension dissipating into the night air. The children nodded eagerly, and Lily's heart swelled with pride not just for Jason, but for the way the kids were embracing this transformation. As they continued to brainstorm, Lily felt the night wrap around them like a warm blanket, infused with untold stories and shared dreams. They crafted tales together, weaving dragons and cookies into magical fabric filled with laughter and friendship. For Jason, it felt as if a weight lifted, every idea that emerged pushed back the shadows that had clung to him for so long. Yet as they laughed and created, a sliver of doubt crept into Sarah's heart. Was this true change? Or just a fleeting moment? She observed Jason's smile, the joy illuminating his eyes, and wondered if everyone would really accept this new side of him. Do you think, she thought, uncertainty racing through her veins, that we can look past the past? Can we forgive each other enough to really start fresh? The air grew thick with unspoken words as the children shouted out more ideas. Sarah wanted to trust in this moment, to believe that Jason could change. But then again, the past seldom faded away completely, right? As Jason shared his ideas, and Lily encouraged him, an unexpected hush fell over the group when they suddenly heard a rustling in the nearby bushes. Everyone turned wide-eyed, anticipation cracking through the serene atmosphere. What was that? Someone whispered. Jason's bravado flickered, but then he straightened up, his expression shifting. It's probably just some animals. Or maybe it's another story waiting to be told. Lily felt a new thread of suspense linger in the air, wrapping the group in a collective thrill. But what truly lay hidden behind those bushes? Could the unexpected event further challenge their bravery, or was it just the start of a new adventure waiting to unfold? Taking a step forward, she said, "Why don't we find out together?" Lily took a deep breath, her heart racing with excitement. The thrill of adventure washed over her. "Let us go," she said, practically bouncing on her feet. The other kids exchanged nervous glances, but the energy was infectious. With Jason leading the pack, they moved closer to the bushes. Each shuffling step stirred the fallen leaves, drawing out the mystery that lay just beyond their sight. Jason glanced back at the children, his eyes brightening with determination. In that moment, he felt the weight of their trust, the hope that maybe he could be more than he once was. The rustling continued, and a light wind brushed against their skin, almost beckoning them forward. "What do you think it could be?" One boy wondered aloud, his voice trembling with both fear and exhilaration. "Could it be a magical creature?" suggested another, eyes wide with anticipation. Maybe it's treasure. A girl squeaked, bouncing on her toes. Jason felt the familiar rush of both thrill and fear. This was what he wanted, an adventure that tested his bravery. Through the layers of uncertainty, he asked himself, can I really be the hero in my own story? Lily stepped boldly ahead. I think we'll find out together. Just remember, it's okay to be a little scared. That's what makes it fun. Taking her lead, Jason followed, his heart pounding. The hairs on his arms stood up, not entirely from fear, but from possibility of confronting the unknown, of discovering not just what was hiding there, but also what he was capable of. The kids closed in behind him, forming a tight circle of shared resolve. They reached the bushes, Jason crouching low, reaching out to part the thick branches. A sudden rustle erupted from the other side, and he nearly jumped back into the arms of his friends, laughter mingled with nervousness ringing out. But then he remembered Lily's encouraging smile, picturing how she believed in him. On 3, we all peek, he declared, his voice steadier than he felt. The kids nodded eagerly, anticipation bubbling up like soda pop shaken too long. 1, 2, 3. In unison, they leaned forward, heartbeats sinking in a rhythm of hope and fear. At first, they saw nothing but shadows playing tricks on their imagination. Just when the air filled with unease, something furry and friendly bounded out from the bushes, a small dog, wagging its tail like a flag of triumph. The laughter that erupted felt like a release, a communal breath shared. Jason crouched down, the little creature rushing into his arms, nuzzling its head against him. Joy blossomed, washing away the last remnants of doubt. See? It was just a friend waiting for us. Lily exclaimed, kneeling beside him, her face glowing with delight. But just as warmth filled their hearts, Jason noticed something odd. Attached to the dog's collar was a piece of parchment, yellowed and worn. He gently rubbed it between his fingers, curiosity surging through him. "What is this?" he asked, pulling the paper free. The kids leaned closer, eyes twinkling with excitement again. It was a map. "Look! It leads to something." "An adventure maybe," another child said, eyes shining bright. Jason's heart raced at the thought. This was it. A story waiting to unfold right in front of them. With an eager grin, he stood, holding the map aloft. "Let us see where it takes us." The children cheered, spirits soaring high, ready for whatever lay ahead. But as they moved to depart, a faint whisper swirled through the trees, the kind that seemed to carry secrets and promises. "Are you sure you're ready for what's next?" it seemed to ask. Jason turned back to look at Sarah, who stood with an unreadable expression. Did she see the change in him? And more importantly, could she trust the new path they were about to embark on? As they set off, a question hung in the air: what awaited them beyond the maps and into the heart of adventure? Could they uncover not just treasure, but a deeper understanding of themselves along the way? As the group made their way deeper into the woods, Jason led with the map clutched tightly in his hands. Each step felt like they were stepping not just into the unknown, but into the stories they had only whispered about in the safety of their homes. The rustling leaves and murmur of distant birds created an orchestra of mystery around them, exciting and a little unnerving. "Can you believe we actually found a treasure map?" Lily said, her eyes sparkling. The other kids chattered in agreement, their nervousness melting away, replaced by a shared thrill. Jason felt an undeniable surge of confidence coursing through him, as if each cheer and giggle filled him up like a balloon ready to soar. He glanced down at the map. It was crude, drawn by someone else's hand, but it had a charm that thrilled him. There were simple drawings, trees, a creek, and an X that promised adventure. His finger traced the path leading away from the place they'd found the dog, winding through the woods and ending near a small creek not far from Maple Ridge, the very spot they had all talked about exploring. "Do you think the treasure is real?" one boy asked, his voice steeped in curiosity. "It has to be," another piped up, practically bouncing along the trail. They stopped for a moment at a clearing where the sunlight filtered through the trees overhead. It felt magical, like something out of a movie. Jason paused to soak it all in, the camaraderie, the thrill of adventure, the simple joy of being a kid. Lily was the first to break the moment. She squinted at the map, determined. "We should split up into pairs to search for clues. That way, we can cover more ground." The suggestion sparked their imaginations. "I'll go with you, Lily," Jason exclaimed, feeling a rush of excitement at being by her side. Sarah, however, hesitated, glancing towards the bushes with an uncertain look. "Are you sure that's a good idea?" she asked quietly, her brow furrowing. "What if something's out there?" The way she said it brought the feeling of unease creeping back. "Come on, Sarah," another child coaxed. "There's nothing to worry about. We've got the map and each other." Jason took a deep breath and met Sarah's eyes, willing her to see the adventure for what it was. "We'll be fine, I promise," he reassured her, feeling a surge of responsibility for the group. "We're all in this together." With a reluctant nod, Sarah agreed to stick with Jason and Lily. They paired off with the remaining kids and, with renewed energy, began to head down the path indicated on the map. The excitement of discovery was palpable, but each turned corner seemed to deepen the tension in the air. As they reached the creek, with water flowing gently, the laughter faded slightly. They stood there, looking down at the rushing water, shadows creeping around them as twilight began to settle in. "Let us keep moving," Jason encouraged, though a knot formed in his stomach. The creek shimmered under the dimming light, but its sound now felt hauntingly loud, almost consuming. Suddenly, Lily pointed at something glinting beneath the surface of the water. "Look! Over there!" The kids gathered around, eyes wide with wonder and disbelief. Jason felt the weight of the moment settle on him. Was there really treasure waiting below? Or was it something else entirely? The question loomed in the air, heavy and electric. As they knelt to peer into the water, something glimmered. But before they could react, a sudden loud splash echoed through the woods, startling them all. Jason jumped back, heart racing. What was that? A fish? Someone suggested, but Jason felt a chill ripple down his spine. He didn't believe it was just a fish. What had they stumbled upon in these woods, and what awaited them just out of sight? The adventure was far from over. The splash echoed in the stillness, and for a moment, the world around them fell silent. Jason's pulse raced as he glanced at Lily and their friends, all of them frozen in uncertainty. The water was restless now, creating ripples that distorted the reflection of the trees above like some forgotten memory, just out of reach. "What was that?" Jason whispered, his voice barely breaking through the tension. "I don't know, but it wasn't a fish," Sarah replied, her eyes wide with fear. She took a cautious step backward, her instincts screaming for her to retreat from whatever mysteries the creek held. Suddenly, a low rustling came from the bushes nearby. The sound sent a shiver down Jason's spine. Maybe we should just go, he suggested, glancing from the water to the darkening woods. They had come for adventure, but the unknown felt more like a trap now. Lily frowned, her adventurous spirit battling with Jason's concerns. Wait! We have to find out what it is. What if it really is treasure? She stepped closer to the water, wine-colored light from the sunset casting an ethereal glow on her brow. Just then, one of the kids, Benny, crouched down, peering into the creek with growing curiosity. "Guys, look!" he urged, excitement re-entering his voice. "There's something shiny down there." The group leaned in, breaths held in unison. The twilight cloaked their faces in shadows, highlighting the glint of something unusual beneath the surface. A strange, metal object glimmered in the fading light. "What if it's a part of the treasure?" Jason asked, a mix of fear and hope tingling in his chest. "I'll get it," Lily declared, taking off her shoes without a second thought. "Stand back." "Lily, wait. What if there is something dangerous?" Sarah said, her worry palpable as she reached out to stop her friend, but Lily was already wading into the water, its coolness bringing a rush of clarity to Jason's racing mind. Lily moved cautiously, her arms and legs moving with purpose. Each step into the water sent waves cascading around her, but she pressed on, determined. The others held their breaths, watching her every move, their hearts pounding like war drums. As she reached down, fingertips grazing the sandy bottom, Jason found himself mesmerized. He couldn't help but feel a strange mix of pride and fear. Would she really bring back treasure, or was something lurking waiting to reveal itself in a much darker way? In that moment, Jason heard it again, a rustle, stronger this time, as if the woods themselves held their breath, preparing for whatever lay ahead. Was it just his imagination, or was there something out there? "Lily, be careful," he called out, but the words felt hollow. The knot in his stomach tightened, and his mind raced with images of buried treasures and ancient stories twisted by time. With a sudden gasp, Lily's hand wrapped around the item resting on the creek bed. She pulled it up, triumph lighting her features. But as she emerged from the water, a shadow darted across the clearing. "What is that?" Jason blurted, his pulse quickening as he squinted into the darkness. The group turned to face the darkened outline that moved between the trees, slick and silent, sending a chill racing up Jason's spine. The shadows seemed alive, whispering secrets he wasn't ready to hear. Jason realized this wasn't just an adventure anymore. This was turning into something more powerful, more ominous. He could feel their resolve wavering beneath the weight of uncertainty. "What do we do?" Sarah whispered, visibly shaken as she clutched Jason's arm. We have to stick together," Jason said, steel creeping into his voice. "No matter what happens, we don't split up." Lily took a step forward, the object in her hand glinting even in the dim light. "Look what I found!" she exclaimed, holding it aloft. But before they could celebrate, the shadow darted closer, shifting rapidly just beyond their view. "Is it watching us?" Benny breathed, his voice trembling. The woods felt darker than before, promises of adventure swirling into something far more foreboding. Jason took a deep breath. Realizing that whatever lay ahead was not just about finding treasure but also confronting fears that trembled in the leaves around them. What awaited them in the depths of the woods, and would they uncover more than just lost treasure? Lily's heart raced, the object in her hand reflecting the last golden rays of the sun as shadows wove tightly around them. The glimmer was mesmerizing, yet there was something about the way the darkness seemed to cling to the trees that felt all wrong. She glanced over her shoulder to the anxious faces of her friends, uncertainty mingling with a tinge of excitement. "What is it?" Benny asked, wide-eyed but too terrified to approach. Lily took a deep breath and examined the object closer. It was a medallion, old and dirt-covered, but she could almost make out a symbol etched into its surface, perhaps something that promised secrets if uncovered. "I don't know, but look," she replied, holding it out like a trophy. The shadow flickered again, drawing Jason's attention. "We should go back." His voice was a plea, emphasizing the growing tension. "It's getting dark," and he couldn't finish the thought, his eyes darting toward the shifting trees. "No," Lily said with a fierce determination that surprised even herself. It could be important. She could feel the weight of their fears, but her curiosity propelled her forward. "What if this leads us to something amazing? Or dangerous?" Sarah countered, her grip tightening on Jason's arm. "Guys, it's just a medallion," Benny said, trying to break the tension. But Jason saw the trouble beneath Benny's facade of bravery. They were all struggling to mask their fear. Just then, the presence in the woods shifted again, the brush crunching under footfalls that felt deliberately slow. A heavy silence enveloped them. It was terrifying, yet there was a strange allure. Something deep inside Jason urged him to press onward despite his anxiety. "Let's just look around, 15 minutes tops," Lily said, her voice firm. "We can't leave without trying." Reluctantly, the group nodded, the thrill of uncertainty pulling them forward like moths drawn to a flame. They began to move, Lily leading the charge, clutching the medallion close. The trees closed in around them, their roots twisting like snakes beneath the layers of leaves. The darkness was a living thing now, pressing against them with every step they took. With each rustle, Jason's heart bumped up a beat. The wind whispered through the branches overhead, sounding almost like laughter, unsettling and yet strangely inviting. "Do you hear that?" Sarah's voice trembled. "It's just the wind," Lily replied, though doubt was creeping in too. They pressed onward, Jason keeping his focus on Lily. She seemed so fearless, but her eyes flickered with uncertainty that mirrored his own. As they entered a small clearing, the moonlight spilled down like silver silk, illuminating the medallion. "I swear, it feels alive," Lily remarked, her voice barely above a whisper. No one responded, all eyes locked on the medallion, which started to pulse faintly, matching the quickening rhythm of their hearts. The symbol seemed to shift, transforming before their eyes. Just then, the shadow they had felt earlier emerged fully, not just a fleeting silhouette but a figure standing just outside the circle of light cast by the moon. "What is that?" Benny screamed, fear breaking his voice. The figure stepped forward, revealing itself a person? An apparition? They were cloaked in dark fabric, the hood casting a deep shadow over their face. For a moment, there was complete silence. Then, the figure raised a hand, and a soft glow emanated from within the cloak, illuminating the immediate surroundings. "Who dares trespass?" The figure's voice was low and powerful, sending shivers down Jason's spine. In that moment, time stood still. The fear was palpable, growing like a vine around their throats. Jason realized they were in over their heads. "Run!" he finally yelled, adrenaline surging through his veins. But before they could take a step, Lily planted herself firmly where she stood, an unwavering look of resolve gripping her features. "Wait!" she shouted. "We're not here to harm you." The night felt electric, charged with an uncertainty that left Jason breathless. Would they be met with danger, or was there something deeper behind the figure's intentions? Whatever happens next could change everything, he thought, heart racing, caught in the web of fear and curiosity looming before them. The figure shifted slightly, the cloak whispering against the ground, and Jason's breath caught. The soft glow deepened, casting faint light on the medallion in Lily's grasp. Each pulse of the symbol felt like a heartbeat, as if it were mirroring the fear and hope intertwining among their group. "Why are you here?" the figure demanded, the timbre of their voice both soothing and unnerving. Each word resonated in the clearing, turning the night air thick with tension. Lily squared her shoulders, stepping forward. "We found this medallion. We think it might unlock something important," she stammered, the confidence in her voice battling against the tremor in her hands. "Important?" The figure lowered their hand, the glow brightening. It illuminated an intricate design on the cloak, patterns woven with an artistry that suggested an age far beyond the forest they stood in. For a fleeting moment, curiosity sparked in Jason's mind, mingling with the weight of uncertainty. He couldn't help but question what secrets lay ahead. What did the medallion hold? What would this figure tell them? "Lily," he whispered, the urgency spurting through him like wildfire. "Maybe we should go back." But Lily ignored him, her gaze fixed on the figure, who tilted their head, studying her. Jason could almost catch the flicker of something. Was it recognition? Relief? There was history woven in those eyes, buried beneath layers of shadow. "Show me," the hooded figure said softly. "Show you what?" Lily asked, the challenge both thrilling and terrifying. Jason's heart pounded as he wished to pull her back, to shake the doubt from their friend's mind, but something in the air anchored him to the spot. "The medallion. It has power, but power must be understood, not claimed rashly." The figure's voice barely broke the silence, yet it resounded through the clearing, laced with authority. Lily hesitated, her fingers tightening around the medallion. "What kind of power? What do you want with it?" "Every artifact holds a story, a connection to those who came before." The figure stepped closer, and Jason felt a chill prick against the back of his neck. A fragile trust began to form, woven from shared fear and desperate curiosity. Lily's voice grew resolute. "If it's a story you want, we're ready to hear it. Aren't we?" She turned to the others, seeking their support. Benny's eyes darted between them, while Sarah clutched Jason's arm tightly, her knuckles white. Jason's pulse quickened, the stakes rising higher. What did this figure know? What had they stumbled onto? Every question echoed louder in his mind, drowning out remnants of peace that the night should have brought. The figure bowed slightly, and the glow intensified. "Very well. But be warned, what lies ahead may be more than you bargained for." In that moment, the air shimmered with energy as the medallion pulsed brighter. Jason could almost feel it reaching for something beyond the present, a link to dimensions unexplored. He struggled between fear and excitement, a paradox of being drawn in yet wanting to flee. "What does that mean?" Jason asked, his voice barely a whisper against the swell of silence. But before the figure could reply, a sound like thunder rolled across the trees, shaking the ground beneath them. "Is this part of it?" Sarah gasped, panic flashing across her features. The figure's stance remained steady. "It is only the beginning. Are you prepared to face what comes next?" Jason's heart raced. With the weight of that question hanging in the air, he knew their lives would never be the same. The medallion's power beckoned, a siren's call that pierced straight to his core. Shall we? Lily said with a fierce courage, lifting the medallion higher. Let us go, Jason whispered, knowing they had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. The forest pulsed around them, shadows looming like ancient giants waiting to unveil their stories. But what awaited them in the darkness back at their homes? Uncertainty gnawed at Jason's soul, holding his thoughts hostage. Remember, the figure said, as the ground seemed to tremble. Again. Each choice holds a world of consequence. As the shadows deepened and the glow of the medallion began to flicker, Jason realized the true test of their journey was just beginning. What revelation loomed with each heartbeat, and would they be ready for what lay ahead? Jason felt his breath hitch in his throat, the weight of the moment pressing down harder than ever. They had stepped into a story far bigger than all of them. He glanced at Lily, her determination burning brightly. She had transformed before his eyes from a scared girl facing a bully to a brave adventurer standing her ground in front of an enigmatic figure. His friends were behind her, and they were ready for whatever lay ahead, even with fear pooling in their hearts. Okay, let's do this, Jason finally breathed. The thrill of the unknown danced in the air. The figure extended a hand, the glow illuminating their features just enough for Jason to catch a glimpse of striking eyes glimmering with wisdom and sorrow. Each of you carries a story within. This medallion connects you to it. But to unlock its magic, you must seek the truth together. Together, Jason echoed, feeling the undeniable sense of unity. He exchanged glances with Lily and the others. They were ready in ways he hadn't even considered until now. As the figure spoke, the forest began to change. The shadows danced, whispers fluttered through the leaves, and colors bled into one another. Take the medallion and follow the light if you seek to discover your true selves. But remember, shadows lurk where light shines brightest. Let us go! Lily exclaimed with excitement, holding the medallion high. The others rallied around her, feeling suddenly emboldened. As they stepped forward, a path lit up ahead, shimmering with the glow of the medallion. They walked as a group, hearts pounding but united. Laughter emerged, cutting through the tension, lifting spirits high. They shared fears, dreams, and tales spun from their childhood as they pressed on, weaving connections that felt almost magical. Remember when you told that story about the dragon who saved the village? Benny asked, his face lighting up. Yeah. And that's when I realized fairy tales can teach us about facing our fears. Lily responded, her enthusiasm contagious. But in that moment of joy, Jason couldn't shake off the memory of the shadow lurking behind them. The reminder lingered that the past could still chase them, but here, now, they felt a deeper sense of purpose. Then, the ground shook again, and there it was, the formidable presence they had felt before. What was that? Jason asked, instinctively stepping closer to Lily, the little ones huddling around them. Face your fears! The figure shouted, and with an electrifying energy, they surged forward into the heart of the glowing path. A thunderous roar followed them, leading them into a clearing pulsating with light. Yet, what lay before them wasn't a monster but a gateway, a portal shimmering with colors from dreams untold. Laughter echoed softly on the wind, weaving through the branches like familiar friends. This is it! Lily whispered, taking a tentative step forward before glancing back at Jason. We can do this together, right? Jason nodded, confidence blooming in his chest. Together. The kids jumped into the portal, hearts racing with anticipation. As they crossed, Jason caught a glimpse of Jason, a reflection of his past self, timid and afraid. But it morphed, reshaping him into a figure of courage, skin glowing with newfound strength. The journey had just begun. On the other side, they found themselves in a dazzling realm filled with flying creatures, vibrant colors, and wondrous music. It was a world alive with possibility, each corner holding promise for everything they ever imagined. "What now?" Benny asked, his eyes wide with amazement. Lily turned to the group, her heart soaring in the moment. "Now, we start writing our own stories." In the magic of that moment, Jason finally felt free. The past no longer bound him, he was ready to write new chapters, ones filled with bravery, friendship, and love. As laughter nestled in the air, Sarah watched her daughter blossom. It was her heart that reaffirmed everything had changed for the better. "You've done it, Lily. You've reminded us that fear can transform into hope," she thought, tears of joy welling in her eyes. In Maplewood, Halloween was just the beginning of a new adventure for Jason, Lily, and their friends, a journey to illuminate their true selves in a world that once seemed dark. And as they explored the endless realm before them, their hearts were unified, ready to embrace every twist and turn of their new narrative, knowing they would always face darkness together. Because in the end, true bravery comes from being willing to chase dreams, lift each other as spirits, and believe in the light that shines within us all. Now, the adventure continues. Don't miss out. You need to subscribe now to our channel to follow more exclusive stories that inspire change. And if you enjoyed this transformation, leave a like now to fuel our reach. Every single like counts. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending. We want to hear from you. Share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to witness this journey and transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second.